Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 6 of the Dealership Download. As you guys noticed today, we are missing one person, our beloved Danny Nissan. It is the end of the month, so he had to stay a little bit late at work because he sold a car. But we have a special guest with us today, Miss Katie Lamphere. Katie, I want you to start off by telling us what you do, who you are, and where people can find you on social media.
Yeah. Hi, Taylor. Thank you. So my name is Katie Lamphere. Like you said, I'm the founder of Veterans in Automotive and Just Fitfo. You can find me primarily on LinkedIn under my name, Katie Lamphere, and it's Lamphere, or you can go to our website, which is veteransandautomotive.com. What do I do, Taylor? Oh boy, we do a lot, but the main focus is that I help to collaborate and introduce military veterans into opportunities in the automotive industry by organizing and hosting events across the nation to be able to do that and make sure that our military veterans have the opportunity to have fantastic careers in the automotive industry that they may not become aware about without us being out there and telling them about them.
Absolutely. And Miss Katie didn't tell you, but she is also on TikTok. So make sure you go follow her on there as well. She joins us for TikTok lives all the time. You get to hear her speak there as well. But Katie, my first question I do want to ask you is what's your next event? When is it? And how can people register and express interest in going?
Yeah, so that's awesome because it's coming up. It's coming up really soon in just a few months in San Antonio, Texas. I'm excited to say that on October 20th and the 21st, I will be hosting that event. On the 21st, it'll be the career side of it on Lackland Joint Air Force Base, which is absolutely amazing. I'm very proud of this because it'll be our first on base with the actual active duty who are getting ready to transfer out looking for careers. What's their next career? And then also all of the military that live there, and they're really desperately searching for opportunities as well. And as you know, the automotive industry, Taylor, we offer really good opportunities for income as well. So that's something that I want to be able to pass on and say, hey, listen, we don't have to have so many challenges right now and struggles. We can actually offer you a career that'll fit your background and offer you an above average income and lifestyle that they deserve.
There we go. And do you have another event coming up as well that may be a little bit farther out for if
I
people can't
do.
make the October one, they can definitely make the one next year?
Yeah, so I do. So what's really exciting is that I have an annual event in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's our Veterans and Automotive Annual. It'll be our third annual, July 15th and 16th. It is a 2-day event, and that is a collaboration between the automotive industry gathering together and pouring into each other and helping to educate us. And I know you were able to join us this last one, and I was
I
really
was.
excited about that. Yeah, I was really, really excited about having you here so you could get a feel of how we really pull together. So one of the things that people compliment me on that event is that it's so much more than just like, hey, I'm a GM or hey, I'm a internet manager, I'm a vendor. Everything is like, hey, I'm Katie, I was Navy, right? Because I'm a veteran. I'm a Navy combat veteran, actually. And so it's really cool to be able to share that. And you got to witness where we're like, Marines, no, Navy, Air Force, oh, Army, woo, Coast Guard, right? So it's
Yeah.
very cool. And it was such a big, like, it's such an amazing experience where you're not like, oh, you're a salesperson. Oh, you're a vendor. Nobody cares about that here. It's all about like, how could we pour into each other? And then we have some really fun things too. We do a little racing, F1 style racing competition. We hand out some trophies for that. We had an amazing artist that'll be entertaining, hopefully again next year, Jenna Kay, because she's really like rising up. She's super good. That flew in from Nashville. We have some just incredible things. And so next year it's 2 days. So we'll have the night before the welcome party where we'll do some racing and fun competition. And then the following day, we'll have the career event with the speakers and all that you got to see. So coming up in October, though, it's going to be a little different. So in October, we're going to do the same the night before, okay, on the 20th, off base. This is going to be the same thing, some racing competition. I like to throw that in there because we're in the car business. And then the next day is going to be on base where we actually have the career fair where people come on base and find those jobs. So a little different. And then I'm going to be continuing to do those throughout the country as well in different areas.
So for everybody who's listening, make sure you reach out to Katie. And if you can't make the October event, at least make the one next year We have plenty of time. I went to her event this year. 1,000% you need to go. So make sure you reach out to Katie. Again, you can find her on LinkedIn and TikTok, as well as on her website, and make sure you express interest in that. Katie, before I ask you this next question, because I wanna give your opportunity to share your story before I ask you questions about it. What is kind of your background? I know you said you were in military. Have you ever been in the automotive industry, or did you just express interest in helping people find careers in the automotive industry? Why did you kind of target veterans in automotive?
Yeah, so not one day in retail. I'm just kidding. So, yeah, so I kind of did things backwards. I actually started before I went in the military. So, way back in the 1900s and back in the year of 1988, I actually joined a dealership on a co-op program. It's kind of funny. I'll kind of run through it really quick. I was a senior in high school. They said, "Hey, you're going to get paid through this co-op program to go in and you can work. You're going to get credits for it for school." And I was like, I get out of school, I get credits, and I make money. Get me, sign me up. And it was a dealership that I actually applied for as a receptionist that kind of launched that. So I was a receptionist, and then I became their. Back then, it was like they started this customer service type thing, and they thought, hey, she's good talking to people, like the customers, the guests hang out with her up there and at the switchboard at that time, right? So they put me in charge of that. And then when I graduated high school, I ended up going in the Navy shortly after. I had enlisted in the Navy, and it was during Desert Storm. So I was part of that era. And I got out in 1995. I went back to a dealership. I started out in sales, and I spent majority of my time. I mean, we could be here all night talking about all the years through, but I'm gonna skip through some decades, all right? And so I spent most of my decades working in finance and as a finance director. Had a lot of training in that. Was a sales manager, new car, used car, right? And then GSM position. And when I left, my latest role was as the GSM, and then I went to work actually for one of the lenders first. My kids were, I had two teenage daughters. I have three daughters, but two of them were kind of getting a little bit of teenage nonsense in high school, juniors and seniors. I said, all right, it's time. And so I went to the vendor side and I loved it. But then I shortly went to work for JM&A, and I spent my time training dealers in finance across the country, and then got relocated here, actually promoted to Raleigh, North Carolina for my position here. And that was in 2019, and I've been here ever since. But I launched my own company a couple of years ago. I actually launched my own company here. Yeah.
So that leads me into my next question.
Yeah.
First, I do want to say thank you for your service. We really appreciate that. And my next question for you, Miss Katie, is what made you decide to start your own business instead of staying in the dealership?
Question, actually. And the reason why I started my own company is 4 years ago, um, my brother Steve had passed away from colon cancer. But I'll tell you, he was my car guy, okay? And when he went into remission, or when he came out of remission, I'm sorry, into stage 4, he came here to Duke in Raleigh, and he stayed with me. And we were having this conversation, and my brother was only 57 years old at the time. He was my car guy, was a GM at a dealership, and never had time to ever do anything health wise, right? Always, oh, I got to work a deal, got to finish a deal. He looked at me one day, Taylor, and he said, you know what, Katie? I want you to start chasing happiness and not the money. He said, please do that for me. Because at the end of the day, the cars, the houses, the boats, all the things, the money, that doesn't mean anything. At the end of the day, all I cared about was my memories. And guess what? I have a lack of them because I spent so much time chasing the money. So please be happy. So those words really stuck with me. And it took me a little bit to get through, everything about losing him, and everything started kind of settling in. I just couldn't find my peace. And um, one day I had a blessing because I had started with a company that I loved near and dear to start an outside sales team. And after only a couple of months, they decided to part company and not continue with that. And I thought, my God, I'm devastated. What am I going to do? But guess what? This was a blessing. this was like a redirection, a protection, right? This is what I'm supposed to do. And everything just came at me like, hey, stop chasing the money, chase my happiness. What means near and dear to me? He was also a veteran that when he got out of the Air Force, he went into the car business and it provided a really good lifestyle. But guess what, Taylor? It also, I feel, had part of taking his life because of the fact that he never took care of himself. And we've heard, and you heard this in one of the panelists, right? How she had never a GM of a store and she was with her had never went to the doctors in 20 years, right? So I'm like, I'm on a mission now. Okay, I'm on a mission, and I want to say, hey, listen, why not work with a military who has over 35,000 military veterans sleeping on the street every night looking for a roof over their head and food to put in their belly, right? Who were military veterans that come in here and been offered an incredible lifestyle, but also let's educate the dealers, right? Let's educate the dealers as well in how to make it better. And we do that by people like in your generation, I say. I welcome the younger, the new, that we're passing the keys, we're figuring it out to make it better. So it's a combination. And that's really how it launched. I know this is a long story, but that's really, I think this is the first time I shared that whole event process. Like that's really where it comes from. And it's an honor of not only myself, my daughters, and but my granddaughter as well. It's a legacy for me to pass on, but it's to honor my brother as well.
And I appreciate you sharing with that like that with us. I think it's just the first time I've gotten to hear the full story as well from start to finish.
The first
I
time
know,
the first time I said it and I didn't cry. Wow. When I share it with personal people, I start to cry a little bit. But yeah, that's why you saw me cry a lot at the event, Taylor.
listen,
Yeah,
I love Katie. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say.
I love you. Thank you.
So that kind of leads me into my next question that I had is what is one thing that you wish that you could change right now about the perspective of the automotive industry and one thing that you wish you could change about the automotive industry?
The perspective that every car dealer is shady and bad, okay? Because they're not. I've been in some that are, and there are some very, let's say, less than honorable, less than proud to talk about situations still. There's too many of them still to this day. I do think we're moving at a snail's pace to make it better. But what I see now is that the next generations that are coming in, you truly, truly want to make a change. So anyone who's been in this industry, I feel less than a decade, is coming in the door saying, hey, why are we doing it this way? Let's build trust first. Let's build, we keep using these words like transparency and trust and all these things, but first we have to actually stop talking about it and be about it and really, really, really do it. So do we really want to do it? And the other thing is this: stop pretending like we're not here for profit. Profit's what keeps the lights on. It keeps us all employed. It keeps the vehicles coming in. It makes it to where someone can have a service department to service their vehicle. There's nothing wrong with profit. It's not a dirty four-letter word, but it's about not just stop being sleazy, right? Like stop trying to hide it and be like, oh no, this is the best. And then, oh no, wait, don't go nowhere. I'm going to reduce this some more for you. Like that's the stuff that people want to stop. So if I could change the perspective, it would be that we're not all bad. But that's the second part of your question. We have to actually stop being all shady and bad, right? Like we have to actually be about what we talk about. Too many times we have these conversations and you're on TikTok and you're on social, different social media platforms like Clubhouse. I'm a big Clubhouse person, as you know. Talked for years about making these changes, but we get out of the meeting and what do? We go into the store and not a damn thing, nothing changes. Nothing changes. It's just like, oh well, yeah, that sounded great, but I'm going to get a little resistance from some leadership in here, or you know what, it's not going to matter what I say because people are going to do what they want to do. But guess what? Your voice really does make a difference. If we just continue to practice what we preach, it'll get there. I believe it'll get there. I have faith in y'all. I do. I think I really do. Anyway.
I'm so excited to be able to interview Katie. And one more question I'm going to ask you before I turn it over to Zach. So, anyway, Katie, I kind of wanted to go back a little bit. You've been in this industry pretty much your whole entire life. What challenges have you faced and lessons that you have learned that you think that us as the younger generation can learn from and inspire from?
So there was a point in time where, and I'll go back to where I thought like I didn't, my opinion didn't matter. I was to be hushed. So there was a couple things that was against me at the time, that I feel against me, that I could have used to my advantage more. One, it was my age. I was younger right at that time. Experience, not being as experienced as the old guys, right? Um, and also being a woman at the time. And we still face those challenges now. Okay. We still do. Like, I was the one that they always thought should set up for the meeting, even though I was a manager. It was like, go get the coffee, go run, go, go get the food and set up the coffee. And I'm like, geez, I'm the finance director in the store, but okay, cool. you know? So I think what I learned from that though is that was not a them problem, it was a me problem. And so I'm going to say it like this to all the people that are still thinking there's a challenge with that. It's not their problem, it's our problem. We need to fix it. So if you feel like you don't have a voice, get your voice, find it. Be in the rooms that will let you sit at the table, so to speak, that proverbial table. Surround yourself with people that allow you to do that. Find yourself that I have a really good friend of mine, Gretchen, that calls, get you a hype woman or a hype man. I need men in my life that will continue to push me forward in this industry. Women and men need we all need each other. Let's put it that way. It's not a male woman thing. It's just like there's some people who feel like, well, I'm just a salesperson. You are the heartbeat of the dealership. I mean, you go out there and you do the work, right? Like you are the face of it. The receptionist is the face, the service advisor, the parts director, the parts counter person, the person that's making the deposits upstairs, whatever, right? Like the accounting, the person doing your paycheck, making sure y'all want to get paid, right? And you want your bonuses. So I mean, everybody's important. So I think that's the part that we have to realize that if someone's back busting their butt late at night cleaning a car for you in detail, come on, man. We got to recognize these people. This is important. We're all a team. Nobody is better than the nobody. It doesn't matter your title. We're human beings and we're all in this together to make it work, because without one another, it's not going to work. So I needed to realize that I did have a voice. I did have the opportunity to make changes. And when I realized that, it was a little bit later in my career, right? But when I realized that and I took ownership of it, things started to change. I was able to help rise other people up and just stand up and say, hey, listen, no, this person's the right person, just in the wrong seat. You'll hear me say that all the time. That's something that I've kind of been coined to say, that like, hey, no, we have great people. It's the right people. We just have them in the wrong seat, guys. Come on, let's look at this again. So anyway, that's what I feel. So I think you all are able to do that. What I love is that the new generation coming in, like my daughters that I talk about, right? They're all 28, 30, and 33. They are incredible. They are the ones that bring in innovation. Okay. They figure out how to do it better, smarter, faster. They figure that stuff out. They FIFO it real quick. So I think we need to work together more like that. Let me help with the pioneering stuff we talk about, right? Like, let me help with that part of it. And y'all just keep bringing it in, how we can do it better, faster, and stronger, because I love it.
There we go. I'm a stop fire rapid questions to you now. Kind of digging in real deep. I've got one final question that I'm going to ask at the end, but now I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Zach.
So, hi, I'm the crazy car sales guy. I've been here the whole time, I swear. So, they have been crushing this. So, um, a couple questions. One, going back onto what you said about, getting the business integrated into kind of the new style. You have a lot of the management pushing back on that. What recommendations do you have when you are getting into a store that a management is pushing back and you're just not feeling that style is correct?
Yeah. Don't be afraid to say it. The managers are like old McDonald's coffee crew people sitting around talking about the good old days, right? We can talk about that. I'm in that age group, guys. Listen, I told you I started in 88. Let's just do the math. All right. So here's what I would tell you. If they don't accept you as far as your opinion is being valuable, as far as you have something to bring to the table, then leave that table, go find one that's going to take you. There's nothing wrong with that. This is where people have to understand, and the older generation that's running the teams, right? The leaderships, if you're not open to growth, if you're not open to these collaboration, you're going to lose really, really good talented people. That's not your problem, Zach. That's their problem. Okay. That's not your problem. That's theirs. You can't control how somebody feels or what they act. What you can do is only control what you feel, how you act, and how you approach it. So to me, it's like I could sit in front of somebody and talk till I'm blue in the face about how they should do something, right? But if it's not their idea, sometimes these egotistical people, if it's not their idea, they're just going to push back, push back, push it back, right? To where I'm like, all right, whatever. So I have to figure out a way to show them. It's the show me piece of it. So if I can come in and show them something that I've done that's a little creative, a little innovative, right? And then they say, well, that's interesting. And you can sit back and say, yeah, no. Or if they're not open to it, like I said, Lee, I honestly am one to say, go find your space. And I think too many times people stay because they're afraid or they feel like, where am I going to go? Or what am I going to do? Or does that make me weak? No, it does not make you weak. It does not make you a job hopper. Okay. There's one on every corner. Let's just face it when you're looking at dealerships. Okay. But find the culture that fits you and that you can be a part of. Stop trying to fit into somebody else's, box, right? That's the thing. And I think people are shamed for it for so too long to say, oh, you must be the problem. Okay, I'll be the problem, but I'll go someplace else where I'm not the problem and we'll be successful. So take the time to really, really know where you're walking into. If you're going into a new environment, make sure I say interview them, right? We say that, but make sure you ask those questions to make sure it's okay to bring your new ideas. I know I could go on about this forever. Sorry.
No, I love it. And that's, yeah, that was going to be it. You've answered the secondary question of that is, do the interview of where you're going to try to make sure that they're not going to be just like the last one that you're thinking you have an issue with. Um, so my next question is, you've been in the business for a long time. You've had many different positions. One, what was your favorite position at the dealership? And two, what was your least favorite?
Oh, wow. Whew. So I really liked a few. This is crazy because I excelled in finance. I was in F&I for a long time, and most people know me from the F&I background. Um, Here's the funny thing. Way back in the day, okay, as I was going through the stages, I was what was called a delivery coordinator at one point. This is actually what got me into finance. This is crazy because I would be the person after the customer said, "Yes, let's buy the car." I would sell them all these accessories like the gold package on their Lincoln or, on their Navigator. I know I'm going way back. Special wheels, right? All these things. Like I sold the interior and exterior protection. And I loaded it all up before it went into finance. Well, the finance guy used to get kind of ticked off because he's like, what the heck? She got $4 grand worth of stuff. I didn't understand it at the time, right? I just knew I was having fun with it. I was showing accessories and I gave them their delivery. Like I would walk them through, like, hey, this is what your service contract is, all the things on the vehicle. Walk them through the owner's manual that we had, right? So that was so much fun to me because I didn't even realize that I was already bumping payments. Like I didn't know that I was already practicing to being in finance. Does that make sense? Like I was just doing it naturally. I was having the conversation. So it's funny because until you just asked me that question, I wouldn't have answered that. So thanks for reminding me. That was actually so much fun, but like really tough because then they're like, you better get a check from them because I can't get it financed. And I didn't understand it. So I figured that out and it made me super strong in finance to collect money, more down payment, more money to get products, because that's what I was used to doing. But anyway, that was fun. My least favorite, geez Louise. Well, I can't say it's the least favorite position. It would be the dealership I was in that position. if you want to be honest. It's not the position I was in. It was the leadership, the culture of that store. It was the same position. It was in finance. And I can remember, I remember, it's funny. I used to have this little green velvety looking binder thing, and it had all the lenders' business cards, and it had like all my, go tos, right? At the time. Okay, don't laugh, right? Because it was a long time ago. But what's funny is I can remember if someone knew if I had that book in my hand that I was outie, right? Like it was like, oh shoot, Kate's not coming back. She got her little green book, right? So and I can remember that one particular dealer was such a jerk about taking, like he was so mean about people with less than perfect credit, and that disgusted me because I was like, you don't know their story. And so every time I would hear that, it would just make my skin crawl. Like they'd call them names, and I'm like, you don't even know their story, and you probably can't finance a box of Cracker Jacks, so shut up. Like, to certain people. And I just remember that was my least favorite because so it's not really the job, and I know I didn't answer the question properly, but it was more so the place I was at, the culture of it. I was just, ooh, I didn't like it. So I almost like that's where it could ruin somebody. Like if you got your first shot in finance, for example, at a place like that, it might ruin your entire. And I hear people say, I didn't like that because I didn't like a certain position. I had a blast being a receptionist at that season of my life. Oh my God, they played nasty jokes on me to page really crazy names. I hit every name up there was to page. Yeah. And I surely did. I was 18 and dumb. But anyway, yeah, and they like to play jokes on the new girl. But I also like I had fun with that position. And then as a GSM, that was probably one of the I'll tell you, that was a role that I was really proud of obtaining. Um, but it wasn't I was really proud of obtaining the role, but I didn't feel the most satisfied from it. So I know that's kind of strange. We'll get into that story some other time. But it was like it was just different. I didn't feel as satisfied. Yeah. Anyway, hopefully that answers the question.
No, absolutely. I like that. So this is the part that I always go and flip it. Obviously, we've been asking you questions. Do you have any questions that you would like me or Taylor to answer for you?
I do.
Ooh.
I love asking questions. So I know, Zach, from my understanding, you've been in the business a few years, Taylor as well. I mean, you've been around for over a decade, I believe, as well, too. And then, you know, and you work with I know primarily pre-owned vehicles. Okay. And then Taylor, you've been around for about a half a decade now, and you've been in different positions and excel very rapidly. So I'm going to ask the two of you. I'm going to ask Taylor first this question.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Put me on spot.
Well, how's it feel? So I want to ask Taylor if there's something that you could say freely without any repercussions, right? That you could just speak freely to someone, the older, okay, that seasoned generation in leadership, that you feel the biggest issue is for you to be successful in the business in this industry. What would you feel they're holding you back? Like, what piece is holding you back, do you feel, or others to excel and succeed?
Ooh, that's a hot one, Katie. That's a hot one. Um, I will say in my career, I've been very blessed to have a mentor who taught me and kind of took me on and taught me how to be able to do my job and do it very well. As you mentioned, I did excel in my career very early on. I'm 24. I've been in it almost 5 years, and I've made it to the desk. And I've been a desk manager. I've been, BDC director. I've been, top salesperson selling 40 plus cars a month. So I was very fortunate to be able to have that mentor. Um, One thing that I have noticed commonly that's going around, and I'm sure Zach can attest for this and you as well, Katie, because we get on these TikTok lives almost every single day and we're talking to the older generation and the younger generation. And what I've noticed that it's a very common denominator is that the older generation is starting to get burnout. They're getting tired and they're ready to retire. But they're the ones who are supposed to be coaching us, developing us, leading us, teaching us how to replace them. And it's something that we're lacking in all the stores. And it's a frustration. A lot of our people, they want to learn, they want to grow, they're craving it. They just don't have somebody who's willing to do it, somebody who's willing to give them the time. More commonly now, when you go into a dealership, it's hey, here's your logins, there's your computer and phone, go sell cars and don't suck at it. They're not getting the teaching that they want from it. They're not getting that support that they need, that mentorship that they need. And it's like, what are we supposed to do? You know, if we don't have it, what do we do? How are we supposed to learn? How are we supposed to grow? How are we supposed to get better? How are we supposed to be able to step into their footsteps when they do leave the dealership?
Mhm.
Because eventually you're going to cycle through everybody and you're going to be left with us. Then what do we do?
Yeah, I love that you just brought that up, Taylor. I love that you brought that up and answered that question that way. I actually was hoping to hear that because I think that is something that is a broken piece of when, as I say, passing the keys. I believe that you are brought into a position and there's not proper onboarding, introductions, anything set up. You wait. People sometimes have to wait days to get logins and passwords and they're like you're sitting around and you're like now what and you feel like you weren't even really welcomed. Do you know what I mean by that? Like it's almost like, well, hey, I'm here, now what? And then to your point, they wait. Do you know it's reactive instead of proactive, right? Like that's how I look at it. Like when you make a mistake and you're scolded and you're like, oh, you should have known this. Well, how would I know if you didn't tell me? Let's talk about your process. Let's talk about, you know, your process in this store and how you want these things to be handled. It should be every single day. So I love that you brought that up. I think you're so spot on. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're okay. I was just saying, I'm very fortunate that in my career, I've had that. I've had the mentors who want to teach and learn. And as everybody knows, I left the dealer group that I was with for a very long time. And the dealership that I have joined now, I have that mentor who is hungry to learn and grow and to be better. And so I've just been very, very fortunate. And it's no secret, Katie's came into my life and she's been a huge mentor as well. And she's introduced me to all these people, put me, in all these rooms and all these conversations and things like that. So I've personally been very, very fortunate.
Aw.
Very, very fortunate. But I'll hand it over to you, Mr. Zach.
So I guess my big thing right now is just the older, again, with the older generation I always make fun of my owner. I'm like, listen, when you were chiseling that in stone, buddy, there's new ways to do stuff. But I think that goes beyond that. So obviously a big thing is getting into the advocates and people that are helping people buy vehicles. There's a reason that they are needed, and it's like shooting your shot. A lot of these dealerships are, your presence is key, your presence is key, and that was drilled in. And when I started, that was drilled in. If they're not here, they're not really buying. But this new generation and the ways that they can go about it is, I look at it as in, if you go to a bar, when you go to a bar and you hang out and you're looking at the girls, you shoot your shot. Did you win every single shot that you took? Absolutely not. But hey, guess what? I got married. I shot my shot and I won. You shoot your shot and you win. Sometimes you lose, but if you don't shoot your shot, you never know what's going to happen. And I just think that it is. I hear so much. There's all the controversy, but I hear ones that I really enjoy and how they have to call 20 dealerships, 30 dealerships to get a number back. Like it just, I haven't been in the new car business in a very long time. It's been 8 years, but if I jumped onto it and somebody said, "Hey, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna see if I can do it as long as it's not crazy." Again, because profit's not a bad word. But if it's something that can get done, I'm gonna shoot my shot and I'm gonna see what happens. Hopefully, I win. I might lose. But if I have 99 attempts to try to win it and I win one, or I have one attempt and I lost it, I'll take 99 over that anytime. That's just my advice because it seems to be harder and harder it just it blows my mind when I talk to them that they're just still going that route.
Mm, they get them in. They need to be here. Just get them in.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. Yes, when somebody's in front of me, I have a much better shot at selling them, 100%. But I have no shot if they're never going to come in. And I have no shot if somebody's going to call me and say, "Hey, this is the car I'm looking for. I know I want it. This is the price that I want it for." Guess what? I'm gonna go and look. I'm gonna go and see, hey, can I do this? And then to get kickback from the managers, like, oh, they're not here. Well, let's try. They might never come. You're right. But what if they come? And what if we sell an extra car? What if this happens 15 times? And now we just went from, you're a 8 to 10 car guy and you're now a 20 car person because you shot your shot. I
Mm.
just think it can happen. And I know I'm gonna get a ton of backlash because it happens in my dealership all the time. And that's where me and my dealership are having fun right now. Um, but it's like if you just don't try, you got nothing. I'd rather have something. There's a lot of time in the dealership that you're sitting around twiddling your thumbs. What if you could not twiddle your thumbs and just shoot some stuff out there? That's just my opinion.
I love that. Can I say something about that to you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate when someone says, "Well, they're not here." Yeah, they are. They were on your website. They're right there right now looking at that car. It's virtual and it's very real. This is 2026, people. They're no longer getting the Sunday paper and flipping through it or the once a month auto trader. You know what I'm saying? Like it's ridiculous. Like people are living in the 1900s, right? Like, hey, like they're going to drive around to every lot and do it. No, sir, no, ma'am. We need to open our eyes and say they're in our virtual showroom right now and they're looking at this vehicle and they're telling me the stock number and they're saying, hey, this is a vehicle that I want, tell me your best price. And it's difficult because we all role play and we do all that. And here's my opinion about this. People can act like they are so great on the phone when you get that question, right? Show me. Like I'm just gonna say, show me because it's not easy. And I think this is just where I'm different. I think every situation is different. If Zach calls me and asks me, hey Katie, I'm looking at such and such, give me your best price. It's gonna be different if Taylor calls me and says the same thing. Every scenario, we just have to be prepared for it. And guess what we have to do? Practice what we preach. I almost cursed. Practice what we preach. Again, if we say we're transparent, if we say we want people to trust us, then we better earn that. It's like you said, if you're out, as you said, if you're out at the bar, right, and you're trying to meet somebody, I call a difference. This is 2026 where people are on, swipe right, swipe left. Okay, I'm looking at a photo. I'm just looking at pictures. I'm browsing. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna swipe whatever swipe it is to say yeah. Well, if I'm not transparent and I'm putting up to where I'm like, doing the best angle, the best look, 20-year ago picture, my glamour shot from 1990, whatever, right? Like it's so crazy. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's the thing. Like, are you catfishing them, right? So as the dealer catfishing the guest, and that's what I call it. Like if you're going to put out there that we will, get you the best price, what is that? Like then do it. Like stop. Does that make sense what I'm saying to you, Zach? Like I agree with you.
Yeah.
And
Yep, it makes a lot of sense. And I like to hear it in different ways because a lot of people say it the same way, and I like to hear a different version of it. And I never thought about that one, so I like that.
no, I mean it's your virtual showroom. They're already swiping through cars, and that's what it is. It is literally online dating for to matchmaker for a car and a human, right? Who's gonna get you? So I can go through and look at all these pictures, and say, oh, I like that. Whatever's on your lot, I like that. 2024 Highlander XLE that you have there. Ooh, that looks nice. It's got a little more miles on it, but boy, I'll tell you, it looks like it's in pretty good shape, right? Got a little extra miles on it, a little older, whatever, but looks like it's in good shape. And then they call you, and all of a sudden you're like, but you got to get here and you got to do this. I'll give you the best price if you're here. Do you have a trade in? What's your credit? I'm just like, holy schmoly. Like, I just want to call you and see how can I buy this car. So, and it's easier said than done. And that's what I hate. I think that sales associates are so I know this is not going to be popular either. And I really don't care. I'm too old to care. But it's like, I think what happens is sales associates are discounted in their ability to handle a guest experience. And I've heard them really fail. But the reason why I think it sounds so awful when you have people calling and doing these, like, let's just film somebody at a dealership, how they sound, because I think it's how someone presents themselves to you on the other end of the phone, too. If I'm like, hey, Zach, I'm Katie, there's a way that it's about it, right? Or I'm like, what's your best price? You're going to react different ways, aren't you? Let's be honest. Are you think so?
100%.
Yeah, so let's not judge everybody by something you might see on TikTok or whatever, right? It's not always that way. And I think you have to adapt, right? And adjust to each tone in the conversation. If someone calls me with an attitude, I'm probably not going to be the most friendliest either to be like, let's do everything for you, sir, ma'am. I'm going to be like, I'm just over here doing my job. Why you got attitude with me? You know what I mean? Like, so let's just be honest. So I think that's the problem too. Like the expectation of every phone call, every guest experience is going to be dead up. No, it's not. I mean, listen, this is a real world. I live in reality. It's not. It's just I need to allow you to be you. Okay. I need you to be you. And I really believe in matching. And some people don't like this. I believe in matching guest with the sales associate 10 times over. If I feel somebody is going to be better fit with Taylor than you, Zach, I'm going to say, hey, listen. And I think every manager should greet the guest first. I don't think a sales associate should greet a guest that comes in the door first or on the lot. I think a manager needs to get off their booty. It needs to be somebody that gets up, and if I'm that manager, right? Or if you're my manager, Zach, I'm selling cars and you're at the desk as a manager, you should greet the guest.
Yeah.
And you should put them with whom you feel is going to be the best. Don't be biased with, but be like, hey, I just talked to Mr. and Mrs. Green, and they're telling me the scenario. They got a granddaughter. All of a sudden, Katie, I have a 1-year-old granddaughter. All these things fit up. Me like, hey, I want you to talk to Katie. Katie, come and talk to them. They're doing this. Or hey, Taylor, this person's looking at X, Y, and Z, and that's how I think it should be done. So if I could change something, that's what I would change too. I'd be like, listen, manager, you greet the guest, you take the phone call, and you match make because you should know your team better than anybody. And you have the experience to take those calls and greet those guests. Since you think you're so good at it and they're failing, get your butt up off your seat and you go do it and you match them with the best fit. You,
Yeah, I love that because I know I'm big. I'm wild. I understand that I walk in front of some people and the look of fear they have when I'm like, "Hey, how are you?" I'm like, "Oh, guess what? Give me 1 second." And I'm just the sales guy and I'm going and grabbing my other guy and I'm looking at him. He's like, "Why are you giving me this?" And I'm like, "Listen, you are way more mellow. You're gonna sell this and you're gonna rock it." And then other people I see him with that are like pushing him all around and I'm like, "Listen, let me have them. Let me go because they need a little bit more show and just somebody that's not afraid to say something to them." And
yeah.
it's like no, this is my customer. I have to deal with them. And then you lose them. And I'm sitting there like, I know I could have done that. I know I could have closed that. We just had that today. The guy was in there and he was just the gruffest, roughest. If you are a grumpy old man, they love me, and I don't have any idea why because I'm the farthest from that. But they just are like they respect it. I mean, it's always funny. It's like if I see a grumpy old man on my lot, and my other salesman sees it, and he's just like, can you go? And I'm like, yeah. And then I'm shaking. I'm like, come on. And they're like, I don't want, all right, I'm gonna come sit at your desk. And I'm like, hey, what's up? What are we doing? What's up? They're like, oh, I'm just gonna tell you everything. And I'm like, I don't know what it is about that. But like the little old lady that was there and she just looked shocked when I was standing in front of her. I was like, you know what? I have another customer. Let me get you somebody to help. I just seen you out on the lot. And I walked in, got him, and it was an interaction that she enjoyed. And every time I walked past, she was just like, I'm like, all right, you're a little afraid of me. It's okay. It's okay.
I love it. And I've had those experiences. And as I was a manager in a store, I used to get pushback, but I could tell. I'll give that example as well. Like military, when you hire military, especially in a military town, that trust that we talk about, you know how pretty quick, right? So if I noticed somebody was, I was like, oh my gosh, I was in the Navy. Oh, really? Me too. What ship? I was on the Yellowstone back in the day. Oh my gosh, I remember that. And you just automatically kind of click, right? But now there's people that run from me that are like, I don't know about her. Like, I don't. I mean, I kind of get that feeling because I am a emotional, you know, you know what I'm saying? Like Taylor, I see like I'm very animated. I'm like in your face, hey, where somebody else may be very reserved and
Real
it's
life.
not,
Yeah.
we're not clicking. So I got to put them with a person that this going to kind of mirror a little easier. Like I can tone it down, but sometimes it's like that's not the right person to be with. So you guys probably have not heard that from an old timer, right? But if you literally, I think it's the best thing in the world to do. I really do. I think if dealers wanted to fix a problem and they have qualified leadership in that store, put them the first point of contact. They should be opening the door, greeting people, introducing them to the sales associate. That's what I feel. I mean, they're supposed to be the best of the best. I should be able to pick out real quick who to put who with, right? So anyway, I might get
Mr.
pushed back.
Zach, Katie, do you guys have any more questions?
No,
Well, I always have tons of questions, but
go
I
ahead.
got
If you got
professional
more, we're
answers.
here
I got
for you.
tons of questions, but am I
Do you
allowed
want to
to
ask
ask more questions, or
if
do
you
you
want to
want?
ask more questions, you're more than welcome to.
Because I know you're
If
tired,
not,
but I have tons of questions because I love this. I feel like I'm interviewing y'all. Like, my turn. I really do have a question though. Zach, you told me that you hadn't worked in a new car store in about 8 years. Okay. So I am curious, in your opinion, what do you feel is the biggest like change for you besides the obvious? I mean, new car pre-owned, right? But where do you feel is the biggest, like, what do you like most about it? Working with pre-owned, independent store, or working for a franchise? Like, what do you like? What's better?
So I got out of the franchise. I worked at a store that had 25 salespeople, and it got to just be a lot. And when I had an opportunity to move into this pre-owned store, there were 8 cars on the lot. And I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, but I got to meet my owner, and he had a vision, and that vision has succeeded to the point of where we're at now, where we went from 8 cars, and now we're carrying about 50. We've grown. I just enjoy being the little guy that everybody said was crazy. When I left the big store that was selling 400 cars a month to go to a store with 8 cars, it was just the drive of, you can't do it. Why are you doing this? You're nuts. Well, I'm crazy. Let's go. And that's been it. Um, Now, on the flip side of that, there is a lot of stuff, and especially lately, that I'm missing on the new side. I deal a lot with special financing, and I think that is a major thing because we help them. I know the reliability of the cars that I'm sticking them in, and we help them throughout their process to keep going. And I've watched people grow from a 400 to, a 750. It took time. It wasn't right away, but I've watched it happen. Um, and I just wasn't getting that support at the franchise that I was at. It was a large franchise. I miss the leasing of vehicles. the people that were coming back every 3 years. Like in the pre-owned store, I'm not getting that comeback so quickly. I'm getting a lot of referrals. I love what I do. My customers love me, but it's harder to flip people out of vehicles and it's harder to keep going and going with them. And this has just been coming on lately to me of especially in this last couple of months because, hey, like I said, the old chisel and stone and the new age of I see some future and I'm like, hey, what's happening? Why are we still doing this? And then now I'm just like, man, if I got there with the skills that I have gained from having to push so hard at an independent store that nobody knew what it was, and I go and I start to flip and sell new, people are like, you would blow up. And I'm like, but I don't want to help the wrong one. And I think that's what's holding me from switching as far as that goes. Because I want to see this place succeed. Owner has a great mindset to him, but in 8 years, we're sitting where we're sitting, and I believe we could go bigger.
Right? Can't ever do anything.
Hey, I
I
sold my
yeah,
house
I
today.
get it. But I do like I see that whole with the on an independent side and then with a franchise. I think well, on the independent side you have more freedom. You
Yes.
know, you do have more flexibility and freedom. I do think you get to have limited though when it comes to the advantage of certain lenders. You're limited to that until you grow. I think you're limited to certain income levels at a point as well, depending upon the market, as we know. But I also think that you, on the franchise side, your hands are kind of tied more. You are you are at the mercy of your product, I will say, and your pay plans to me can be a little more wonky, right? I'll say wonky, where it's a little difficult sometimes to decipher. And I do think that you have more that rules, you know what I mean? And like, so I love independent. I love the independent side as well for those things like helping the people. I love subprime, absolutely love it. Some people hate it. I love it. I
A
love
lot
it.
of people dislike
I
it,
know,
and
and
it's
I'm like,
not easy.
and
Like we
that
spent
yeah.
6 hours today getting a deal going, and it took us time, but
But it's like it's a different resistance. You're working for the customer and piecing it together, where instead of you're working for the dealer getting the customer bought on it, sold on it, you're getting a lender, you're getting a structure. I loved doing that where I was like, okay, how do we piece this together? How can we make this work? Instead of how many people do I have to talk to and have that same conversation and negotiate that deal is, ugh, but anyway, I get
and
that.
I
So
will say too, like I've always said this, I said, I know what I can do with the pre-owned lot. I know what I can do with pre-owned cars. I love selling pre-owned cars.
yeah,
But man, if I could flip somebody or help them or even the special finance people into new because of the lenders, because of different programs, I'm like, man, it just itches. It's just it makes me itchy. I've been itchy lately and I've been off. I haven't posted on TikTok in 2 weeks. I've just been lot of stuff going on. And I blame it on selling my house, but it's a lot more than that.
we're gonna have to have some conversation outside of here.
Hmm.
Yeah. So sorry, Miss Taylor. I know you worked all day, and I'm over here. You're supposed to be interviewing me, and I'm over here.
No, you're a-okay. That's the fun in all of this is we get to talk and connect and makes it a little bit more personal that we're on,
Tell you, you're really good.
smaller crawl.
You guys
So,
are really good at this. This is easy.
question for you, Miss Katie. If you had the attention of everybody in the automotive industry for 60 seconds, what message do you want them to hear? Three, two, one, go.
Do what you say you're going to do. Practice what you preach. Put your money where your mouth is. Stop talking about it and be about it. And never forget where you come from. Okay. Because I promise you, one day you're going to be sitting in a seat that somebody else is trying to take from you. Okay. But remember what it felt like when you were that person starting out. Remember what it felt like when you came into a store for the first time and you were waiting to go through onboarding. You just sat there like a duck out of water, and then you got yelled at for something you didn't even know you were supposed to do. So never forget where you come from. Practice what you preach. If you're in a leadership role, be a leader, not a manager. Lead your people, lead the team, collaborate, and be better. We can make it better. I promise you.
And on that note, guys, this is the end of episode 6 of the Dealership Download. You've got your host tonight, me, Sign with Taylor. I've got Mr. Crazy Car Sales Guy, Zach, and the one and only Katie Lamphere. Guys, tune in for next week's episode. I look forward to seeing you all soon.